Good morning. My name is Peter. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Scailyte. And today I invited my colleague Sahar to talk about the recent developments on the field of how governments and governmental agencies react to the use of AI in different industries. Good morning, Sahar.
Good morning, Peter. I'm so glad to be talking on this topic because this Biden AI directive has come on recently, and it seems like a new thing, but actually it is in a way a reinforcement of what the FDA has been putting out in notes on artificial intelligence for specifically for biotech and pharma. So it's a very good happening topic at the moment, but it's also an old topic. It's been being dealt with for the last year. So yeah. Do you have any concerns yourself?
Yeah, so can you highlight what are the key points that the FDA and the White House point out?
So I don't want to point out any specific regulations, but I would like to talk in general about it. And basically, we're looking at how to look at data in terms of equity, in terms of integrity, and also good documentation practices and risk management. One of the biggest words in the industry lately is the concept of fair in terms of data, and that is basically making the data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. It's actually a very old concept in pharma and biotech. Both the integrity and interoperability of data; those are not new concepts. Those are very really happening for the last few years. What is new is actually to look at the data in terms of diversification, in terms of training of models. So that's a new concept, and there is really no guidelines or rules on it for specifically for single cell data. But I think there are a lot of practices that we can take on to make that. All of us understand that data is growing in terms of complexity and in terms of amount and complexity. So it's really very important to understand how we store our data, how do we keep it, and how do we use it. And the risk management here is a very key concept that's old. 13485 and 14971 is old concepts in biotech and pharma at this point, relatively speaking. It's not that old, but relatively speaking. So I think as long as we practice that, we have good documentation practices, good data upkeep practices, clean ones, then and we respect GDPR, which is the right to privacy. That's a very critical aspect of it. Then we're in good place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe to summarize what you just said, so there are two aspects on what has recently been happening. So one is on the data side, making sure that the data is well structured, the data quality is guaranteed, and that there is, especially when it comes to patient data, that the diversity of patients is also represented in the data. So that's the data aspect. And then on the other side, we have the algorithm aspect, where now risk management becomes more and more important, as these algorithms are actually used to develop therapeutics and diagnostic applications. Right?
That's correct. That's a very, very good summary. And on one end, the data has different aspects to it, right? And that's part of risk management of it, is to take a look at it, not only to have it available, but also to make sure that it's safe and secure and meeting all the regulatory required practices. And there's also the algorithms on the other hand, and we need to make sure that they're, despite complexity and how far they can go, that they are still clear and relatively followable in what they're doing. So that's very good summary, yes.
Yes, and neither the FDA nor the White House issued any specific laws or regulations. They more raised the flag and said, okay, we are aware that there is increased use of AI and machine learning algorithms in different industries, including the healthcare industry.
Correct.
And we raise awareness about exactly these 2 points that we mentioned about the data side and the algorithm side. And in the future, they may take steps actually to regulate. They may audit companies, as especially the White House executive order was pointing to.
Exactly, but the FDA, before the White House even put out that the initiative, they actually had put out a note saying we will audit you on this if need be, even if you're not even a direct, even if the data that has been used in a clinical trial is not directly from an AI platform, that if at any point an AI platform was used, they reserve the right to audit that. So actually, the AI Biden initiative is I don't want to say behind. It's not behind. It's because the initiative from Biden is many industries, right? But the FDA for the pharma and biotech has already stated this. So for us in biotech and pharma, we're already there. We already know these regulations more or less. They have become more stringent, more applicable to other industries as well, especially in terms of privacy, how you use the data, and how ensuring the privacy of data and the diversification and the fairness in the data. I really, yeah, it's going to be very tough to regulate that across industries. But for biotech and pharma, we're kind of clear on that. We do know. We see that the data comes back and from the various trials, from the various analysis we do, and we see how that can how tweaking the model, how working with the model and working with different aspects of the data can contribute greatly to results. So we're probably on the forefront of this very initiative in a funny way, ahead of the curve. So that's really the good news. The bad news is we have to do more documentation.
Yeah,
that's always the risk we run.
exactly. So to mitigate, so there is the balance, documenting, which slows you down, but then of course this means reducing the risks and mitigating the risks that are there.
Exactly. So that works really perfect.
Well, thanks a lot for this conversation, explaining what's going on in this field. Really happy, and I think it's important also to make it more visible and make other people aware about this, because indeed there is increase of using AI and machine learning algorithms in all aspects, especially also in biomedical research. And companies like Scailyte that are at the forefront, I think, should lead by example and also make others aware.
We are definitely a good example of that.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you.